slower than he already is.
Yeah.
Time now for Drawing a Blank. Talk about the Kansas City Chiefs, not a slow team. They promoted receiver Josh Gordon to the active roster yesterday. He could be available as soon as Sunday for the big game against the Buffalo Bills. Here was Gordon on yesterday signing the papers to make it official. Hey, Broussard, Josh Gordon's impact on the Chiefs' offense will be blank.
Middling, Jenna. Middling. Look, the Gordon signed with them. I'm happy for him. Maybe he's gotten his life back together. You know, I'm happy for him if everything is good. They're going to be great through the passing game with or without Josh Gordon, period. All right, I will give him this, though. He's only 30 years old. He used to run a 4.3. You see his size. Obviously, he got great size. Maybe that 4.3 is now a 4.4. I doubt it's a 4.5. It's probably still a 4.4. So he is still another deep threat. I think he could have a few moments like he did a few years ago in New England. So it doesn't hurt, but it's middling, it's ho-hum. I mean, they're going to be great through the air with or without Josh Gordon, Nick. So it's okay. It's fine.
So listen, I think the impact will be immediate. The question is, how long-standing will it be? So Josh Gordon, Broussard, I think people forgot it, but Broussard mentioned it. He walked into the Patriots in the 2019 season and had an immediate impact and was good. Scored a touchdown his first game, had a big game a few games later. He was good, and then he was gone. And then he didn't do anything in Seattle, and he obviously was gone last year. But there is no more advantageous position for a pass catcher in the NFL than the Chiefs' third option. Sammy Watkins, when he was healthy, feasted on that. Demarcus Robinson did it briefly. Oh, God, the guy that went to Jacksonville, his name I can't remember now. Dusty will say it to me. He had a monster season with them as the third option. McCole Hardman hasn't been able to fulfill that role. He will be single covered at all times, which will help him. And I think he'll make an impact on Sunday night against Buffalo. The question is, will he be there at the end of the year? And his history says no. We are all rooting for Josh Gordon, but he is going to get the other team's fourth best defensive back on him throughout the games. And so he will be able to win those matchups, and Mahomes will find him. Mahomes finds Byron Pringle when that happens. So obviously he'll be able to find Josh Gordon. The question is how sustainable it will be. If it is sustainable, then he can slide into the role Sammy Watkins was filling the last few years, and I think do it quite nicely.
Yeah, so my answer, Nick, is more sneakers, because it's like a sneakerhead. Like, you can never have too many. That's the Chiefs in offensive weapons. I just want to reiterate that I am also rooting for Josh Gordon. He played great with the Patriots. The Patriots sort of helped him out even after he was separated from the team. So I'm really rooting for the guy. And I think he's going to have a big, big game. Mark this down, America. Because once Josh Allen puts 40 or 50 points up on that Chiefs defense, they're going to have to throw the ball. So he's going to have a lot of targets, a lot of opportunities, because the defense is so bad. So I think he's going to do really well.
Actually, that's a good point.
Conley was the receiver I was thinking about. Forgot his name. Conley.
We got there eventually, Nick. We got there eventually. Hey, can we talk about that guy right there, Kyler Murray, and his Cardinals? This morning, where most of the Nets held their first practice of the season. We say most because noticeably absent Kyrie Irving. He's still in limbo with New York's vaccine mandate, and the Nets remain unclear on whether he plans to get the vaccine at all. If he doesn't, no home practice, no home games. Nets head coach Steve Nash was asked if they could possibly move their practices out of New York to accommodate Kyrie, to which he said no. No. This is our home. This is where we're going to practice. And we have almost a whole group, so that's a positive. And we're just working at getting better every day and focusing on the things we can control. All right, so you're going to ask, well, financially, what does this mean? So here's a look. I know. Here's a look at the financial side of this, courtesy of Bobby Marks. Kyrie set to lose more than $380,000 for each missed home game. Take that in. Chris Broussard, I'll start with you. How should the Brooklyn Nets handle the Kyrie situation, which has now become a situation?
Yeah, Jenna, they clearly need guidance, and I'm going to give them some. All right, so if Kyrie can't play in home games and practices, first of all, you try to trade him. All right, and I'm sending him to Knicks boy down in Philadelphia, Daryl Morey. My problem for your problem, Kyrie Irving for Ben Simmons. I hate the trade in the division. That's going to make Philadelphia pretty good. It's going to make New Jersey or Brooklyn. It's going to help them. But we both got problems. Let's do it. Now, as our Nick Wright reported a couple weeks ago, Kyrie's people have told the Nets that he'll retire if he's traded. So if a trade is off the table, then I'm doing this. Kyrie, we're sitting down. No, not mean-spirited, no banishment, but we're giving you a COVID exemption. All right? We're giving you a COVID exemption where you're obviously not playing in home games, but you're not playing in road games either. You're not with the team at all. You're away. Just like in the bubble, you're away. We're giving you a COVID exemption. You still get half your salary. We can't do anything about that. You won't be paid for home games because you're not available, but you will get your money for your road games that you're not playing in. The exemption would last this long, either until your contract ends at the end of this season, either until you decide to get vaccinated, or until New York changes its law and would allow you to play and practice within the state. That's it. That's what I'm doing, because chemistry is important. You cannot win an NBA championship. This is not AAU. I know there's similarities, and people call the NBA glorified AAU. It is not. You need chemistry and you need continuity to win a championship. And they will not win a championship with Kyrie popping in and out of the lineup, and not practicing. All right, because most of their practices will be at home. We learned that with my Clippers, Jenna, a couple years ago. Kawhi Leonard, because of load management, in and out of the lineup, right? And it came back to bite them in the playoffs. And the Nets are good enough to win a championship without Kyrie. James Harden almost won one with just Chris Paul. He can do it with Kevin Durant and a really solid supporting cast. Last thing, Kyrie, as great as he is, and you guys know I'm on the record, first ballot Hall of Famer in my book. But as great as he is, he hasn't had much of an impact on winning. All right, when he was first with the Nets, played 20 games. Kevin Durant was out all year. They were 8-12 with Kyrie, Nick. They were 27-25 and made the playoffs without him. We remember Boston. Without him, they go to Game 7 against LeBron in the Eastern Conference Finals. With him, they go out in the second round in 5 games. So, Nick, I'm giving Kyrie a COVID exemption. You're gone. It's the only way to get rid of the distraction for the entire year, unless he, gets vaccinated.
Listen, this has reached almost farcical where we're at now. And I know there are folks out there that believe, and I imagine the Nets or some of them, or at least hope, Kyrie's going to get vaccinated at the last minute. I think that if he does that, it is such an indictment on this entire process that I don't believe that's the case. For Kyrie to do that, it's not like there's new data or information or FDA approval that is just days away. If that is what ends up happening here, then this whole thing has been, with all due respect, a look at me, I'm so unique, I'm so interesting, but I'll actually do what I was always going to do. So I don't think he's doing that. I think that Kyrie Irving, for some reason or another, I'm sure there's a YouTube video that could elucidate me on it, has decided this is the route he is going to take. And if that is the case, I do not understand how anyone can look at the Nets and say they are championship favorites or anything close to it. And by the way, even if Kyrie at the last moment does get vaccinated, I feel the same way. What do we have with the Brooklyn Nets? We have Kevin Durant, one of the 15 greatest players in the history of the game, still at the peak of his powers, unimpeachable on both ends of the court. That's a really good thing to have. Then you have James Harden, who, as great as he is, his next great playoff moment will be his first.